Joe, you want to turn on your microphone? All right, I'm going to start with approval of minutes. Has everybody had a chance to take a look at those? Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes for June 19th, 2024?
I make a motion to approve the minutes for June 19th, 2024.
Have a motion by Bob. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Joel. All in favor? Aye. Matter of claims and payroll. We have a total of $678,750.29. Total payroll is $299,968.93. Regular claims $314,79.33, and out of cycle $64,702.03 for a total again of $678,750.29. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I make a motion we approve that amount.
Have a motion by Bob. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Joel. All in favor? Aye. Excuse me here just a second. I don't see. Well, I must be blind here. I don't see it.
There is, this, you'll sign the top copy of one table, and I'll give to you to sign.
Okay, yeah, there's nothing here on payroll. Okay. Sorry, folks. Okay, financial report, Sheila.
We have a copy, it's for the month of June, includes all the claims up to date. We also have a blue copy of the treasurer's banking statement reports. Balances, again, are good, everything is in from settlements, both the extra supplemental and regular. And our next phase of trying to start preparing, the departments have all submitted budgets and those will be presented to the council next week as far as electronically goes. So if there's changes or adjustments, they can make them along the way before action plans are done. We're still waiting on a few of them. The commissioners are responsible for signing their departments. Jim cited a code in the past, we can look it up, but we'll get all of those departments to you with.
Yeah, we can sign those up in the office down there so I can make special. And I'll have ours to you hopefully middle of next week. I was waiting on John Parmley as well to give me an update on increases for our insurance. Spoke with him twice yesterday. Okay. The timekeeping system. We're 6 months in and ready to go. Where we at, Maddie?
So I just wanted to bring these for you. This is the locations where all the time clocks will go. This was sent into them and they are doing the configuration for the clocks, and then they will be shipped out to us. The Zoom meeting for training is scheduled on July 17th at 2 p.m. So that's after the next commissioners meeting. So maybe you guys can make an announcement on that, or I can bring it up again that day, but I'll send out an email with all the information. We have brought in the health department this week, very new, but still have a lot of questions from them that I'm going through with my team today to answer their questions. The assessor's office was the first one to be successfully integrated, and they have gone completely electronic. I am no longer taking paper timesheets from them. So it was successful and they did a great job, so kudos to them. But that's pretty much all I have right now.
I'd heard that you'd processed a couple of departments or one department and everything was going good, so
Yeah, that was
that's
the
good
one.
to hear.
So.
And are they able at this point to print out reports if they need them, or, okay?
Yep, everything will be going in there. The accrual policies were finished for the tracking of their time, because we'll no longer be doing the absences through LAO, we'll do it through AOD so that the employees can see it live, basically. They can see their balances changing and request that time and make sure they have it before they actually request it through there to be paid for.
And I have seen the examples of that you sent to me through email when they're taking off, and I like
Yeah.
that, yeah.
So everything's going really smoothly. I got a lot done the last week or so.
Looking forward to getting it up and running.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Sheila, you have anything you want to add to that, or?
Just that we're trying to move along. Dana's been able to sit in on some of the training sessions. It's not as simple as a process, but again, the assessor and I believe the health department is the ones up now, so we'd be interested on an outside office as well. So
Okay.
she is trying to get it going.
All right, code enforcement officer. That's proceeding. We've got that part-time position advertised. Pending ordinances. Dana?
Okay, we have two.
Excuse me, Gary.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Did you say that position's been advertised by
Department.
council?
No, by
By
Susan, the building department.
Okay.
They approved the position.
Okay, the council did?
Yep.
Okay, I want to make sure that, all right.
The first ordinance would be an ordinance to amending Owen County Code, Section 31.090, the 911 Dispatch Center Advisory Board. Whereas the Board of Commissioners of the County of Owen finds it appropriate to amend Owen County Code, Section 31.090, 911 Dispatch Center Advisory Board, whereas Section 31.090I1 describes the responsibilities of the advisory board, and there is ambiguity on the limitations of those responsibilities. Whereas the Board of Commissioners of the County of Owen finds that the advisory board's responsibilities are limited to the preparation of written policy procedures and protocols, whereas the Board of Commissioners of the County of Owen finds that the advisory board's responsibilities do not include involvement in purchasing or personnel management, and whereas the Board of Commissioners of the County of Owen finds that amending Owen County Code Section 31.090, 911 Dispatch Center Advisory Board is in the best interest of Owen County and its residents. Now therefore be it ordained by the Board of Commissioners of the County of Owen the following. Section 1, Owen County Code Section 31.090, 911 Dispatch Center Advisory Board, Section 31.090I1 is hereby repealed in its entirety and replaced with the following. The advisory board shall have the responsibility of establishing written policies, procedures, and protocols for the 911 Dispatch Center, including but not limited to long-range planning, training, personnel standards, and dispatching standards and protocols. The advisory board shall not be involved with other aspects of the 911 Dispatch Center, including purchasing and personnel management. The advisory board shall assist the executive director in preparing the annual budget for the 911 Dispatch Center. Section 2, effective date, this ordinance shall be in full force and effect upon adoption and publication as required, passed and adopted by the Board of Commissioners of Owen County, State of Indiana, in a regular meeting held on the 3rd day of July 2024. The reasoning behind this ordinance is that there was some ambiguity in the language in the Owen County Code as far as what the responsibilities were. It's one of those things where it says and other stuff, and so that was confusing. The 911 Advisory Board is very important to the county because its role is to collect all of the different protocols, that the different procedures that the different police departments and fire departments have, and try to pull those together to set up the protocols for the 911 dispatch. So that way, anytime a call comes in, it is handled exactly the way that those that are going to be responding to it get that exact information and get that out to them. So there was things bogging down that process, again involving like purchasing or whatever, and that's purchasing and personnel are under the authority of the 911 director and the commissioners, and so the 911 advisory board doesn't need to worry about that. They're trying to make sure the entire county knows exactly how to respond when that 911 call comes in. So this is just to clean that up. And
Yeah, we discussed this in our last meeting and voted to approve this, so, any comment or concern?
Yeah, definitely. I believe that the 911 advisory board was developed by Owen County Commissioners, maybe even before your time, Gary, maybe slightly after you took.
I was actually here, it was in 19.
I agree that the advisory board's responsibilities for preparation of written policies, but under no circumstances should any department head in this county have the ability to spend any amount of money, make any purchases that aren't worked out through the advisory board. The purchases made at this 911 communication center affect the county as a whole. EMS, EMA, fire, sheriff's department. I do not agree with that. It doesn't complicate issues. This doesn't clean anything up. All this is doing is messing it up. Okay? The advisory board was made for a purpose so that everybody in emergency management in this county had a say in what was being purchased and used within this county. This has taken that away from the hands of the people. I have no use for this. That's my statement.
But you voted on it.
I did until I read it.
Okay.
So I
The commissioners are over the authority of this position, and no money can be sent or spent until it comes through the commissioners of the council anyway.
I understand that, Gary, but the advisory board needs to be involved in anything. This is giving a particular department head the right to do as they wish and only shove it through the commissioners. I don't agree with it. After reviewing this document and having thought about it, this is inappropriate. I think it needs to
But
be.
all our other departments in the county have the same authority.
Well, this is different.
Okay.
This involves sheriffs, EMS, EMA, all this stuff. Any purchases that have to do with emergency management systems within this county need to go through an advisory board, because I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I know anything about emergency management or emergency services. So I'm not going to put my name on an ordinance that says that I know that. And I'm not going to vote for and approve things spent within this county that aren't useful to everybody involved. That's my discussion.
All right, with that being said, I'm going to ask for a motion to approve ordinance number, what is this ordinance number, by the way?
14.
2024-14, an ordinance amending the Owen County Code, Section 31-090, 911 Dispatch Center Advisory Board. Do I hear that motion?
I'll make that motion.
And I'll second that. All in favor? Aye. Do I hear a nay?
Nay.
Now I'm going to jump back. I skipped over the jail update, and I apologize for that. The jail update has been moved over to the redevelopment committee. They're in the process of moving forward with that, and check with the state, and they have the authority to make the transfer of this property, and there's steps and stages that we're going to go through to do that. That was voted on last Friday. So Dana wants to speak on that.
yeah, if you want, I can go over the timetable.
Sure.
That on or before July 17th, the redevelopment commissioner meeting, the RDC would adopt, if they so choose, resolutions authorizing and ratifying obtaining appraisals for the property, which are actually already underway, so they just need to be retitled. and a resolution approving the acquisition of county property. Also, the county commissioners at the July 17th meeting would adopt a resolution approving the transfer of the county property to the RDC. Then before August 20th, the redevelopment commission receives 2 appraisals of the jail property and 2 appraisals of the county property, and the redevelopment commissioner will then have a meeting that adopts a declaratory resolution amending the EDA plan as needed to authorize acquisition of the jail site property and the county property. The resolution also to approving disposition price list for the county property per Indiana code and acquisition price list for the jail site per Indiana code. Then on Tuesday, August 20th, at their regular meeting, the Area Plan Commission will adopt a resolution approving the declaratory resolution amending the EDA plan. The next day, August 21st, at the Commissioners' meeting, the Commissioners would adopt a resolution approving the declaratory resolution amending the plan. Wednesday, August 28th, there would be a publication in the Spencer Evening World of a notice of a public hearing on the declaratory resolution, and letters would go out to the planning units involved in closing that notice. And then sometime the week of September 9th, or possibly the next week, due to people's schedules, the redevelopment commission would hold that public hearing, and the RDC would adopt a resolution approving the acquisition of the jail site property, including authorizing the acquisition for greater than the acquisition list price, and a resolution approving the disposition of county property for less than the disposition price per Indiana code upon expiration of 30 days. So then at 30 days later, the county would transfer the county property to the redevelopment commission and acquire the jail property from the third party in exchange for the county property. And of course, all these, it says adopted, that means at the discretion of those boards, if they choose to or choose not to. This is just assuming that this moves forward smoothly. This would be the timetable. So by mid-October, the property should be acquired by the county.
And I spoke to Mr. Franklin yesterday, and he's still, willing to move forward, help the county out with this situation. And we're looking at some other options as well for that property. The sheriff has asked for possible use of a gun range down in the Quarry area. That's starting to become a conversation. We'll see how that goes. Obviously, we want to get the land acquisition taken care of, and then we'll move forward on that. But it is in the process. So.
Gary, I want to ask you, said something about voted on Friday. What were you in reference to?
In the redevelopment commission.
Okay, can you explain more in depth as to why we're turning this over to the redevelopment for those who aren't up to speed? Because I'm a little behind on this myself, so if you could share in.
I'll let Dana explain that to you.
The part of the issue is how you value each of the properties, and the original estimates is that the county property is going to actually likely be appraised for more than the jail site property. However, taking into consideration the topography and the use of that land, one of the original assumptions that it would be residential. Well, not per the comprehensive plan, and once it goes from institutional, because the county owns it, it would go to agricultural, which isn't valued as high. But anyway, at the end of the day, it looks like the property the county is transferring is going to be worth more than the other property as far as appraisals go. But if it goes to the redevelopment commission, the redevelopment commission can acknowledge that, but say that acquiring the jail site property is so important to the county that it doesn't matter if it's appraised for less than the property that's being transferred. And so that this particular jail site has utilities present, it has 9, almost 10 acres, so there's room for expansion if need be, or other facilities, and it's close to the town and all the offices involved. So they feel that if the RDC feels that that's worth the trade, they can go ahead with the trade. They have that authority.
Well, my question would be, are we leaving anything on the table?
Well, if you're.
I mean, and I know we've talked about this,
Right.
about the value of that property to the county out there.
Yeah,
I
and that's where
understand
we're at with this.
I understand the infrastructure, but again, how many acres?
96,
Um,
96.
96 acres. You know, my fear
And
is here
there's
that,
a percentage of that is a old landfill.
yeah, and we've had impromptu discussions about this, Gary, but my worst fear, I don't want to leave anything on the table here. At
We're not
first I
leaving
thought,
anything on the table because of the infrastructure difference.
well, yeah, I'm aware of that. We've talked about that too. I think you just see what,
The value of that property out there due to it has Wi-Fi,
sure.
all that different information that we need out there, sewer, water, so Wi-Fi, I meant fiber. Unlike out there on 43, that does not have that, it has a 4-inch water line, that's it. So the value of that property
It
is,
doesn't even have it to the location in my last recall.
Exactly.
It was gonna cost, and you can probably quote what it was gonna cost to get it there,
the sewer was 9.2 million
to get it there.
to get there, yeah. And everything is at this location where we're looking at now, and gives the county room for growth, so. With a redevelopment committee, economic development, it's best interest of the county. So anyway, the redevelopment committee has taken that upon themselves, looked at the state for the help on this.
No,
It's been done by many counties before.
Okay, so, and I understand it, but I guess my question is, and I know what you're talking about, I hear what you're saying. At what point did we decide to turn this over to the redevelopment committee?
It has to come back to us anyway. Yeah.
Very well.
Yeah.
Okay. We're done with that. I do have one more on this.
Mhm.
Okay.
Can I comment on this?
Yes.
Okay, it is too late to get it in the newspaper for the meeting that the RDC has already scheduled. However, it will be posted on the board here and outside, and they have scheduled that meeting for July the 11th. So it will be out there. Joel, there's a timeline. I can forward this so that Bob and Joel have copies
Sure.
of the
Yeah, yeah.
timeline, just so you can understand what the processes and the codes and
Absolutely.
things are.
I think we did. I think I did. Forward that to us. Okay. All right, next would be, there was discussion of the hearing authority for the unsafe building and premises law of the county. And it was originally said that the commissioners would be that hearing authority. And it was my understanding from the commissioners that that is not something that they think that they would like to take on, but it is real important to have a way to appeal the process. And also, just to make sure any appeals that aren't satisfied, any appellant who's not satisfied with how the appeals process, after they go through this process, they still have the ability to go to court if they so choose. But what my understanding from the commissioners is that the hearing authority should be, include the one commissioner, and it should include the health department administrator, and also the highway superintendent. So you have somebody that's very familiar with the health aspects of things. You have somebody that is very familiar with the entire county and what's going on in the entire county. And you have a commissioner there that is elected by the people. And so that would be the hearing authority. And so that's what this resolution does. This would be,
Let me stop you there just a second. And we reached out to Christine at the Health Department, which has said she would be more than happy to do that, as well as the Highway Superintendent. So they have volunteered their services. And this is a board that would be established through the daytime hours of business hours, so we're not creating an extra board and a secretary and creating comp time and extra expense to the county. We don't want to do that. So this is an in-house department head.
Gary, I'd like to comment as well. I don't see an issue with one of the commissioners being on the board, but the administrator of the health department pitting them against the person that's going to go look at the claims, John Reeves, that's kind of a bad situation to be in when you have an employee and a department head together. And furthermore, no offense to Greg Milton, by no stretch. I can't understand why the highway superintendent would be on here. I'd like to have further discussion with my fellow commissioners concerning this particular board of people. I think that could be designed better, but that's my only concern. I believe it needs to be done, but I don't, the commissioner, I'll buy it.
Any commissioner at the time of need to be.
Certainly, but if you take the administrator of the health department and pit him against the man who works there that's gonna have to, that puts two people, I'm not going, they may not very well see eye to eye on particular items, and I don't think that's a comfortable situation to be in. And again, the highway superintendent, I really don't see any value in having the highway superintendent on this, but that's a discussion I would like to have with you two guys. I think we could do a better pick of people here. That's what I'd like to see, just a better culmination of people there.
Christine, do you feel like you're gonna have conflict there? I know
No,
you-
because it's usually John not making the decision, it's pushed back to the building department.
Right.
So.
I'm sorry, say that again?
It's usually not John making the decision, it's pushed back to the building department. I mean, John may take complaints, but, he turns them over to Suzanne
The
Pierre.
building department, okay, so.
And that's why we left them off of this. And in the highway's defense, and I'm not defending Greg personally here, they deal with trash cleanup all the time.
Oh, yeah.
There's not a day goes by that they're not out picking up trash alongside the road. They see these communities, they see these places, they're all over the county.
Oh, yeah.
There's nobody that's got a better eye on the situation than the highway department. And it's impartial.
Tires.
Yeah, tires, TVs, you
Yeah, I'm
name it.
aware, he's been out in my area cleaning up tires.
So that's why the discussion was, asked.
Okay.
Bob, you got anything?
I didn't see anything wrong with it, but like I said, I'm good with it.
Well, if that's, have you read all of it?
Are you good with it, Joe?
No, I would like to see different people. That's all I'm saying. I'm not being argumentative here. I just think there could be a better pick. I believe in a commissioner, maybe the building department, because you said John Reeves gets pushed off the building, is that correct? I would concede to saying, let's remove, let's keep the highway superintendent. I agree with you 100%, Gary. But if this is going to get transferred over to building department, then let's just kind of take, I think health department should be on it. What am I trying to say here? I believe that they need to be involved because John Reeves is going to go do the assessment. Correct?
If it's a health it's a septic
Yep,
system.
yep, yep.
If it's an unsafe, livable situation, probably not, no.
It would be the code enforcement officer.
Okay.
Yeah, code enforcement
That
officer.
is in the building department.
I just think there's gonna be some confusion there, folks. Yeah, or their designate, yep.
So they doesn't necessarily have to be hers, be somebody she wants to put on there or whatever, so, I don't know.
Go ahead.
Okay. And when I read about designee, that helps if there's a conflict with scheduling or something like that, that they can still.
Conflict of
proceed.
interests,
Sorry,
conflict of interests.
yeah, or something like that, yes.
And Sheila had even said that she would be willing to sit on it.
And that's fine, I just want to make sure that there's clear-cut department. I don't want one department to get balled up with a couple of people kind of,
And it is that conflict of interest, so, if that's a conflict, then I probably would be too, because it's John that's doing it. So if it's a health issue, if it's a septic issue, then this code enforcement officer wouldn't have anything over that, because those are health department,
Right.
state issue codes. If it's a building unsafe for human habitation, can't live in it, that puts it back to the code enforcement, which would make that more of a neutral position. So it is hard finding three people that wanted to do it, that it's not a conflict of interest, but yet the need is there that goes along with it. And to create, this can be amended, you can change the positions if you find other
or their
volunteers that come
designees.
along.
And that's the important nomenclature here is designee.
And it can be changed down the road, but it
Yeah.
was one of the requirements that
All
the
right.
council had asked, and it's passed.
All right.
And I think this can be changed later on if we find out we need,
Sorry for
Need more
interrupting,
stuff.
Dana.
yeah.
I just,
This is a way, because it was also talked about that the health department, because of their specialty, would be, that way they would have some involvement if the people felt that what was going on, what they were ordered to do is not right. Then you have somebody with experience with health issues that can say, yeah, that does look like an unhealthy environment, or,
Okay.
that's not quite so bad.
yeah,
That's,
I get it.
So,
Okay, yep.
ordinance number 24-015. This is an ordinance amending Owen County Code, Chapter 156, Unsafe Building and Premises Law. Whereas the Board of Commissioners of the County of Owen finds it appropriate to amend Chapter 156, Unsafe Building and Premises Law, whereas Section 156.03 definition defines the hearing authority to be the Board of Commissioners of the County of Owen, whereas the Board of Commissioners of the County of Owen finds that a three-member board hearing authority be established consisting of a county commissioner or a designee appointed by the Board of Commissioners of the County of Owen, the administrator of the Owen County Health Department or their designee, and the highway superintendent or their designee. And whereas the Board of Commissioners of the County of Owen finds that amending Owen County Code 156 Unsafe Building and Premises Law is in the best interest of Owen County and its residents. Now therefore be it ordained by the Board of Commissioners of the County of Owen the following. Section 1, Owen County Code 156 Unsafe Building and Premises Law. The definition for hearing authority in Section 156.03 definitions of the Owen County Code, Chapter 156 Unsafe Building and Premises Law is hereby redefined as the hearing authority refers to a three-member board consisting of a county commissioner or a designee appointed by the Board of Commissioners of the County of Owen, the administrator of the Owen County Health Department or their designee, and the highway superintendent or their designee. Section 2, effective date, this ordinance shall be in full force and effect upon adoption and publication as required, passed and adopted by the Board of Commissioners of the County of Owen, State of Indiana, in regular meeting held on the 3rd day of July, 2024.
Any other discussion? All right, gonna ask for a motion for to approve ordinance number 2024-015, an ordinance amending Owen County Code, Chapter 156, unsafe building and premises law. It's a long time coming. Hopefully we can get this county cleaned up, take care of some of these citizens for these complaints that come in on a daily, weekly basis.
I'll make that motion, Gary, and I'll be the commissioner with the board's approval to leave that
It could be any commissioner depending on the day.
day and time.
Yeah,
Fair
exactly.
enough.
So, yeah, not one particular one, but anyone.
I'll make the motion.
Got a motion by Joel, do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Bob, all in favor? Aye. Mr. White,
Morning, Jack.
Morning. I think you've all received a copy of the update version of the emergency warning protocol. We had to update that because we purchased new equipment, and the testing and activation protocol that was in place was really no longer accurate or really relevant. We also updated some language, removing the sheriff from the protocol part of it. He had some responsibilities there as far as approving severe weather spotters and things that, since it's not in the sheriff's department anymore, it was kind of irrelevant also. The bones of the protocol still the same. We just didn't update some new language.
all right.
Sounds good.
Everybody had a chance to look at this.
I
It
did.
just requires one signature. I hear a motion to approve my signature on the emergency notification protocol.
I'll make that motion.
I'm sorry,
It's all three.
this only has one.
Do you have all three of them?
I think it's just one.
It's got Sherry,
Sherry Anderson, Jack White.
and you,
Yeah.
Sheila.
Gary Burton.
Okay,
Either way, if it's one, that's fine.
okay. I'm just
Change
looking
the
at
jack.
what's in front of me.
No, I'm
One I
not.
have just has place for Garrett.
Yeah, I
This
just
is
checked.
what- Do you have one with a place for more commissioners to sign?
I think the old one did have all three of
And then
us.
Sherry, do you?
Just the others.
All right, do I hear a motion? Sorry,
You got that motion?
okay. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, Jack, we'll get
It was
this.
kind of after the fact, but this was vetted through the 911 board and the 911 director after the last meeting. So I did take the correct steps before I brought it to you guys.
We'll get this to Sheila, and then she can get you a copy of it. There's that.
That's all you got, Jack?
Well, I got a little bit of an update on storage stuff, but I was going to wait until, okay.
While you're here, let's go ahead.
Okay, I've activated the COAD, that's Community Organizations Active in Disaster. I brought them here after the last storm to kind of explain what they do for me and how they do things. We've opened up the 211 system for Owen County, and we've activated a phone in the back in the EOC with an outside number for people to call in if they want to volunteer to help or if they need help. And I think we have about 15 people right now that are in need of mainly of trees, and we have one family displaced. My co-ed folks are working very hard to pair the needs with the resources we have available. So if anybody needs help, 211 will work for them, or they can call 812-829-5026, leave a message on the machine, and the co-ed will get back with them. But everybody's working very hard to try to meet the unmet needs of people, and there's a lot of them because the storm was very widespread. You know, from 46 to Clay City, from Poland to Whitehall, and there's a lot of trees down that insurance doesn't cover. We have some unhealthy and elderly residents that need help, and the Southern Baptists have really stepped up to volunteer. We've got Team Rubicon we're trying to get in, and a lot of volunteer organizations to help us out. So we're going to help as many people as we can. Any questions for me on any of that stuff?
Did HiCom get you fixed up on your phone line? Did you?
They did,
Okay.
almost immediately.
Awesome.
He happened to be across the street
Good.
And just come over and so work timing was perfect on that.
Good,
So,
good
yeah, we
deal.
got
I
that.
just want to follow up on our vendors, make sure they're doing what we're expecting them to do.
Couldn't possibly been any better or any quicker. It was perfect service. And
I just want to touch real quick on a couple things, and this has nothing to do with Joel. He's kind of been over our generators in the past. When they're broke down, we call him. We had a couple situations, that particular night, EMA didn't fire up, just a switch, got that taken care of. I was there with Jack when that took place. Joel couldn't get out. The highways generator went down up on Rocky Hill, went up there. It was in the run mode, but it wasn't running. I was able to get it up and running again. It lasted till I think the next day and finally took a puke. So that's going to be brought up here just a little bit by Joel. We have determined in the meeting the next Monday, I think Joel and I and Jack and Chris, and I don't know who else was in there, but we're going to make sure that moving forward, that Jack with EMA is going to make sure when those are test ran, that he's going to be there at the Rocky Hill site and at the EMA to make sure that those generators are up and running. So anyway, just wanted everybody to know it's very difficult, especially for the highway department. They're kind of our first line of defense when we have storms. They're cutting their way through to get emergency vehicles and all that kind of stuff. So it's crucial that that's up and running. So anyway, Jack's going to take care of that one, those two, and Steve is making sure that the courthouse is on a weekly test as well and follows up on that.
It is. Little update on EMA, the parts have arrived for that generator. It will be repaired as soon as this meeting's over. And then I'll further the update as we go down the line.
if anybody has any complaints about county highway being slow or late or not doing whatever, they need to understand the scope of work that was ahead of them. It was
It's still.
very widespread, like I just said. It was a daunting task they had in front of them, and I think they've done amazing work for.
And our citizens helped a bunch too.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah.
it was
We had a
good.
great turnout with
Yeah.
citizens.
But
farmers
normally,
and
if
stuff.
you had a road closed for an extended period of time, it's because power lines were in it.
Exactly.
And those guys just can't deal with that until
Nobody
that,
can.
that threat is removed. And I just want our citizens to understand that they are out there working hard. I saw them very late, and they were exhausted by the time it was all over and done with.
Yeah, and still
They
are.
did a good
Yeah,
job.
yeah. Thank you, Jack.
Thanks, Jack.
Okay. Fleet gas cards. I really don't know where to go with this. We're trying to get a fleet card program. I know Ryan is in favor of it. Apparently, we found out through some information that we kind of have a fleet card. Is that correct?
They are, half the time they don't work.
Okay.
We have.
Okay, is it the same program as the state program? Because we've got an application filled out, we're ready to move forward. We've asked for 38 cards, 28 for you, and then 10 extras for some other departments. And I'm all for it, Ryan. I just want to make sure that it's, and this is the state program that we have here.
The one you have is
It'll
the
be-
state program. The one
Yes.
that's- The one that I have, I'm not sure that it's the state program. It's
Okay.
the Wax card. Said half the time the cards don't work.
Well, how about if the commissioners are in favor, we cancel what you have and adopt this new one. This has a QPA number, which is a Sourcewell program. It's a state, same as what the state police use. It's also the same, I did do some more research, as what Monroe County uses for their sheriff department and their highway department. So if everybody's in favor, I say that we go ahead and move forward with this, see how it works out. I do think Sheila had a lot of good things to say about it. Comes with independent statements per department, per card.
It's better accounting and you can track it anytime. Everybody's given a PIN number. Ryan's intentions are to have a card that is left in each vehicle, not a person, so that it's always there and you can, shift-wise, they can see who and tracking. I don't want to cancel his current cards until we have the new ones in place and make sure they're working. He just had a claim in May, And so they are using it a little bit, so we'll leave it intact until we can get, and the new one will come in under Owen County government. And then I'll make sure that Donna has all of the cards, and then it's your responsibility after that, who and what they're assigned to.
The reason we wanted to assign to each car, try not to use big stuff, that way, when someone moves from a vehicle to another vehicle, that card is assigned to that vehicle, not to a person. The person would have to have a PIN, it stays in a police vehicle, that they're not able to obviously use it for personal use.
Right.
It would be assigned to a police vehicle and always stay in that car. It's easier to stay accountable, it's easier to keep track of. We've had the switch of hands recently from Co-Alliance to this other company, something or another. We had our tanks dry 2 weeks ago, and we literally had a line of deputies who could not get fuel to go on calls because the tanks were empty. We had to wait for them to come fill it up. That doesn't work. We can't wait for them to fill up tanks.
And Brad, that's right. That's why this was pursued really hard. Well, I got that phone call from the sheriff and said, hey, I got deputies lined up here waiting on the tanker to unload fuel. We can't have that. Just cannot. Luckily, that tank down there runs when power's out with the generator or with EMS, so we're going to continue to use that for backup or whatever. But the sheriff department, most of those individuals leave from their homes, so if they're at the Mill Grove area or wherever they're at in the county, they can get fuel. It's minus the tax right at the pump, those kind of things. And again, I think it'll help Sheila's department and office maybe run a little bit better when it comes to that. The fuel reimbursement that we've had in the past is just a disaster. It's a horrible thing. So I'd like to, I'm sure we can make that go away to a certain extent. And I know Sheila would be happy to see that happen too.
We're going to request in the budget process to have everybody that has fuel line items in the one, so that we're not having to divide out whether, who's paying. And that's true on quite a few of the utilities. We have to divide out the Toshiba's and those kinds of things. So this will help lessen it, and I can look in, we can print out actually a claim in our office from this system to where they don't even have to process it, other than to know it's being reduced from whatever amount that was budgeted for them, so.
This would save my secretary a whole lot more.
Right. And I think it'll benefit everybody in the county. Jack can have one in case he's out, needs one. The highway superintendent, assistant superintendent will have one in their vehicle as well. I know that they fuel up at the highway department, but just like this weather event, they can go to Casey's. They can, wherever they're at in the county, they can get fuel and they don't have to drive all the way back to a fueling station. So it'll benefit everybody. We have ordered, I think I told Sheila, 10 extra cards. You wanted 28, is that correct? And we can do more as we need to, but we're trying to make sure we're filling these voids to help everyone. So
There is a application that would need to be signed by one commissioner. So whatever motion would include letting one of the commissioners sign.
I'll make a motion that we let Joe Lowe sign the fuel card contractor agreement. There's a second.
I'll say.
We have a second by Joel. All in favor? Aye.
It's down at the bottom.
All right. My path.
Thank you.
How are you today?
Doing pretty well. How are you doing?
Doing fine.
So, and again, I'm Kyle, the My Path Trail System. We're getting ready to have our weekly walk here in probably less than half an hour. If you adjourn in time, you all are invited to come join us. It's at 10. We're trying a new event. It'll be a fun event that'll both showcase the new improvements to My Path that are happening right now. Also, it's a good health and wellness activity for the community as well. We're going to have a 5K. We're proposing a 5K on October 19th. It'll be in the morning at 8:30. And most of the 5K takes place on Cooper Commons and on the My Path property itself. But part of it, our route would come onto River Road and cross Veterans Bridge. And the commissioners, my understanding is, as you explained wisely concerned about traffic on River Road. You know, I think all the Owen County drivers are, you know, careful and considerate, but visitors tend to speed along that road. So we want to be careful and make things are safe. And we were planning to use, you know, some volunteers and vests and stuff to help with traffic control. Just spoke to the sheriff, and they're going to help make sure we have some coverage that's better than our volunteers in yellow. So we'll be covered with on River Road to help keep everybody safe for this new activity. Do you have any other questions?
I think that's the only question we had from the last meeting, and we spoke about that this morning, since you spoke with the sheriff. I'm totally comfortable with the whole thing. I think it's a great idea. I'm sure it'll be a great event. Safety of the citizens is number one.
Absolutely.
Again, we appreciate you, the volunteers, but that road is just so dangerous, and if the sheriff department will back you up with a little bit, you said roughly about an hour and this thing would be done and over with.
An hour on a Saturday morning, we may not see any cars at all if we're lucky.
Yeah.
So.
So,
As long as Bob's satisfied, because he had the questions. And-
Yeah.
And as long as.
well, and I agree with Bob.
Oh,
As you're
yeah.
walking along, you're chit-chatting, the next thing you know, you've drifted over, you know, in the lane outside of the coned area or whatever, so.
Absolutely. I mean,
We don't want to have any
You're right on
fatalities,
that.
so.
Yep, just buy a dozen donuts, a cup of coffee, and the sheriff department will be happy.
that'll work.
2 dozen? Okay.
And I'm gonna make a comment here, and you guys tell me what you think, but this really isn't on any county property. Here at the courthouse, there's no utilities, there's no water. I see no need for a fee. This is down, starting on the path and goes to the county road and back. So I'd like to see that waived, if everybody's on board with that, and we can make that part of a motion. So I guess I'll ask for a motion to approve the My Path event, including
Waiver of the fees.
yeah, waiving of fees.
I'll make a motion to approve the special events application by My Path, the proposed date of the event being October 19th of '24, and waiving any fees.
Second.
Got a motion by Joel, second by Bob. All in favor? Aye. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Have a great event.
I'm looking forward to your registrations and start lacing up your running shoes. We'll see you.
Oh, we have to run? I thought we were walking.
You can walk. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
77, I don't run anyway.
Okay, 911 Communication Director, she's not available this morning. She had storm damage. She's got a tree through her roof and one through her living room wall, so she's with her adjuster this morning. So with that being said, highway.
Morning, Chad. Morning, Greg.
Commissioners.
I was going to start with the storm damage commissioners, but since we're talking about fuel cards and the positive effect they could have, I'd like for consideration to put those cards in dump trucks and the moving stock other than the equipment. I think that could be a positive.
If you'll get us a number of what you're going to need, we'll add that to
Would
that.
that help also? And the only thing we would be delivered, I mean, we would have stock there, but then we would just
Talking
have.
graders, tractors, those
Graders,
type of
tractors, et
things,
cetera.
yeah. No, absolutely. That way, if you're out in storm damage or in the winter time, you need to stop here in town and get fuel, or up at Mill Grove or wherever we might be. It'd be nice if we had fuel somewhere up on 42. I can't believe that there's nowhere through there that there's, but it's a long haul up there with nothing, so.
Okay, Commissioners, I'm going to start with the weather event. Our men were out continuously in some shape or fashion from Tuesday night until Saturday. I fully believe that by Saturday, 1 o'clock, we had our emergency response done. That meaning at least all the roads had one lane. They weren't in good condition at any means, but they were down to one lane, and emergency folks could respond as well as power companies. We worked closely with each and every one of the power companies in the county, and I will tell you that we have formed a better relationship with them through this instant because each department helped each other to keep moving. And that I appreciate. I appreciate the citizens that came out and helped and did what they could for us. It's a task that is going to go on for months. As Jack said, it was widespread. I still have many roads that are still those one-lane paths. What we're trying to do right now is clear the heavy trafficked areas and get them in good condition, as well as some of our dead-end roads. I'm finding we made the paths into some of these dead-end roads where folks live, and with just a little bit of wind, we're finding things that are still there. Today, when you drive down the road and you see dead leaves, you're finding more problems that were there that you didn't see to start with. So those have been our focus. I ask that folks be patient because this is going to be a very long cleanup. I met every morning with Jack White through this process. We briefed each other as to the events of the day, which worked very well. As you said, the highway department lost the generator up at the tower. That is worked out of whose responsibility that is. We were without power at the highway department for, like everybody else, an extended period of time. Gentlemen, I would ask that you consider placing a generator there that will run my office, or at least look into the wiring that would get electricity to my office. We are able to run gas pumps and partial shop with what we have now because we plug into our service truck, but that's never been wired to any other part of that building. So we were without office for an extended period of time also.
Greg, me and the commissioners are kind of a step ahead of that, as you know. It was discussed that we'll pursue emergency power at the highway department for the future. It'll enable the office to stay busy, dispatchers to stay busy, so that's on the table. Is it going to happen tomorrow? Probably not, but we've had the discussion. So we're going to look into pursuing that where you guys will have. I will say that the generator at the tower, for those folks who don't know, failed catastrophically. We're not going to go into the reasons why, but we're going to resolve the reasons why. It's being replaced. Its replacement is like for like. It's currently on the way. It's a crucial piece, and it was a weak link when it came to communications. Gary will tell you, he fought it for a little bit. I fought it 2 or 3 times. Highway department was out there, and the long and short of it is it catastrophically failed, and it's being replaced as storm damage. So we're looking into that most certainly. That's up on the list.
We've had an accident, you're all aware. We had a worker injured in a accident regarding a log yesterday, seriously, and then we had a person injured. It was minor injuries. Everyone has been briefed. I've worked with Sheila. Everybody has everything we do to make sure that that individual is cared for properly and everything goes forward. We had some window damage to backhoes and an exhaust to a backhoe. Our main expense, gentlemen, is going to be overtime. In front of you is a spreadsheet, and it's broken down into the different ways and days that the guys got overtime, but there is 426.5 hours of overtime in this weather event.
And you have the cash balances cover this?
Yes.
Can you split this
And
up?
appropriation's gonna be fine now. I'm more worried about long haul. I
Right.
thought about it, talked to Sheila, I thought about going in front of the council in this next meeting. I think I need to just watch for a bit and go in probably the following month.
Yeah, because we still have some weather events coming throughout the summer, of course, and then we have winter. So we'll just have to keep an eye
Yeah.
on that and see how we move
So
forward.
I'm gonna watch my balances and probably work with Sheila a little bit on this. I'm gonna wait till the next council meeting.
Okay.
If I can get by without going back, I will.
That's a pretty healthy chunk.
Yes. The other thing we did was we lost a hydraulic motor and hydraulic pump on mow trim. We were using it very heavily during the storm. I've talked with Commissioner Burton about that. I know that's been passed around all of you, but it's a very expensive piece. I'm gonna go ahead, it's $10,907.11. I make this board aware, and I'm just gonna ask you for a vote to buy that, because that's probably one of the most expensive things that I've had to buy as a part.
I'll make the motion to
Yeah,
allow
gentlemen,
Greg-
I told Greg, it's a no-brainer, we have to have it. It's in his equipment repair. It doesn't require a vote, but if he wants us to vote on it, we'll vote on it.
I'll make the motion to allow Greg to repair the motor trim at 10,009 or whatever, 10,000.
Got a motion by Joel, and I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Without that machine, we're in big trouble.
It's the only one we have.
Yeah. Well, we have a flail mower, but it's just mowing grass, it's
Yeah,
not, yeah.
Now, I don't want to misstate what I'm getting ready to say in regard to this storm, but I've had many conversations with Commissioner Lowe. I believe that he understands the magnitude of the storm we had, and most of it was in his district. I think best thing to state was Commissioner Lowe was a little bit dismayed of some of the equipment that we have to handle certain things. So we've priced out a chipper because we do not have a chipper. We don't have money to buy it right now, but it can be purchased through Sourcewell. And it may be something that we put out to purchase in equipment for 2025.
And I don't want to interrupt you, Greg, and that's an awesome point. Here's the problem we have, folks. Greg stated earlier, the emergency response is somewhat over. And while people are satisfied, yet they gotta find something else to complain about. Now the brush has just been shoved alongside the roads and inside ditches and in people's front yards. Some of it's the homeowner's responsibility, some of it's ours. A chipper shredder would absolutely work perfectly for removing this brush. Hauling it in dump trucks, as Greg was doing yesterday, from out in my district to Spencer, there's no value in that, folks. That should have been chipped up on site and gone. This is a pertinent piece of equipment, and I hope we can get the support and people understand. But yesterday I met with him, well, I've met with Greg every day, several times. And hauling brush in a dump truck back to Spencer from Clay City or Coal City isn't the way to get this done. And we cannot burn the brush, folks. If you're gonna ask why aren't we burning it, we can. So,
And the next thing I can't do, this debris needs picked up. Shoving it, quote unquote, over in the holler doesn't work because that is somebody else's property. And I can't do that. I mean, there are some folks that have said, hey, I got a place, go put that there.
And we appreciate those people.
And I absolutely appreciate it. But under some circumstances, it just has to be removed.
Yeah, and I agree with this 100%. I mean, it's something we need.
I don't know where the money can come from. I'm not saying the storms are done. If need be, we should pursue renting one. But the cleanup in my area is gonna go on. Like I said, Greg's got the roads open, but yet there's still brush just heaped alongside the roads. Well, people, while they're okay with the roads being open, now they're complaining about the brush piled up. And it's no fault of his, but yesterday it was kind of, took me a little bit to comprehend we're hauling brush in a dump truck from Coal City to Spencer. That's
Rocky
unacceptable.
Hill
folks.
Road.
That's a lot of road to cover.
The next thing that we would run into with this is chipping it on site, is getting the landowner's permission to throw chips in their woods or whatever, because otherwise we're still hauling chips somewhere.
I would doubt very seriously, I wouldn't particularly mind, I don't think most residents would mind if you shot it back in the woods.
That's what I'm thinking.
But, you know, to clean up the roads, so that's something that this council needs to, commissioners need to, and the county as a whole need to pursue getting sooner than later. But
I would recommend that you just add this to your equipment budget for 2025. And not just for this, but it needs to be increased because of the value of the equipment. Your budget's been pretty strong the last 2 or 3, 4 years. And I think that needs to be upped to satisfy our equipment need.
Okay.
I mean, that's my personal opinion. We can't take care of the county if we don't have the equipment to do it with.
well, we've done well in getting the snow removal equipment and dump trucks up to par, and the mobile fleet, it's time to kind of reevaluate and find out, because I hope that's the last storm that bad we have in the near future, but
Seems like every year.
who knows? So,
Well, we still have a tractor and a nice mow trim coming.
Yeah.
That ARPA funds are paying for.
Right.
It just can't get here fast enough. I think Greg's latest report was maybe 1st of September now.
Yes.
So,
they keep pushing that back on you.
Yes.
Takes a long time to get that John Deere green.
so I think you got a consensus on maybe just adding that to your equipment.
Yes, I do. I'll have to rework, my budget is turned in, I'll have to do a little rework on that.
We can,
regard to it.
we might have the discussion, Gary, about if these gentlemen need to rent one of these for the next 30 days, and that's entirely up to him.
Yeah.
If he feels it'll be of any value to him, if he's gonna be able to maintain a little crew for cleanup. You know, we would like to get back to paving roads, people. We really would.
Good point. And since we're talking about that, let's throw that out there, because we have citizens asking us, hey, when's this gonna happen? When's that gonna happen? Because we have a road plan. Folks, just be patient. We can only deal with one issue at a time. And I think once Greg gets this under control, or what he feels is handleable, so we can move forward on our other
I
projects.
have spoken with Shannon Brock from Milestone. They will be paving in Lawrence County next week, and all weather dependent, but it looks like it could be the following. We could get started here in Owen County. Right now, I feel like I've got one road that I can hand to them, and a lot of it's because of the storm. Splinter Ridge Road was ready to go. Could have given it to them, but it's just covered with storm debris. We've been working out there, and although it's in pretty decent shape, I don't feel like I could just say, there you go.
Right.
It's gonna have to be retrimmed. I think I could let them take Jones Road and get it done, because there wasn't really any storm damage up there. That'll give us a chance to get Pottersville
Yeah, they can work.
cleared
in
back out.
the northern part of the county where there was no damage.
Yeah, so I think we'll be able to do that and at least get them started. Maybe by that time, we'll have the other ones cleared off enough that they could be moving.
And we have, 12, 14 miles of chip and seal we still need to do this year. I know it's just July, but that can go on up until probably October, as long as the weather.
Well, it could, as long as the weather holds, but it needs to be done. It should not be put off, but it's a must, I know, but we've got to get this storm cleaned up.
And that's what I want everybody to understand. I think that's where Joel's at too.
And I really believe, guys, when you look at it, it's, like Jack said, it's widespread. We have way more of a daunting task than we did when we worked on the storm last year. Anything else? Okay, I don't have anything else, Commissioners.
Guys, we appreciate everything that your crew has done. Prayers are out to Josh Dean. Hopefully he gets better soon. I understand from talking to you this morning, he's still in the hospital. Hopefully he'll get released here in the next few days. So,
Prayers to him and the crew.
yep, appreciate it very much. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. May
I
we
know
be
you're
excused.
tired and exhausted. Yes, get back at it or whatever you need to do. You guys have anything else there?
I don't. I think they've done a very good job.
No, I think the highway department deserves kudos. Anybody believe that they didn't do anything, you're welcome to look at this sheet. We don't culminate near 450 hours overtime by them not doing anything, so kudos to the highway department.
Yeah, they could work overtime the rest of the year and probably not get caught up with everything. And we may have to look at that, you know, working them some more hours to get some of these things done. We can't get behind on our road plan because then it puts us behind for the next year and we just never get caught up. So the only way to do is just work through it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Elected officials, department heads. Go ahead.
Okay, so, the state is running behind on getting the contract for the, public health emergency preparedness grant, but I would like your guys' blessing to go ahead so I can get the contract ready and advertised to get someone in that position.
I think we discussed this with part of our ordinance here recently, to go ahead and move forward with that. So, do I hear a motion to let Christine go ahead and move forward with the grant application process?
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion by Joel. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Bob. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Polly?
I just want to also reiterate how thankful I am for our highway department because they did an awesome job, and I know it was very chaotic, especially when our communication went down. I want to address a little bit about the 911 advisory board ordinance that you and changed the verbiage in there. I think that's a little unfortunate. I think it's going to cause a lot more disconnect between the advisory board and the emergency services. And I think in my perspective, I feel like they should be drawn closer instead of made to, it's so important for the different emergency services to communicate and to be cohesive. I think that kind of creates a disconnect. It's kind of backwards on what it should be because, say for instance that EMS or 911 has something that does, that they purchase. We're talking 911 here. So say 911 purchases something and is allowed to do that under that ordinance. And then we later on, after we've spent that money, find that it causes a disconnect between the different emergency services. We've already spent the money. But, so I think that's unfortunate. So I feel like there should be more communication instead of less.
And I appreciate your comment, but we have the same situation with the sheriff's department or EMS. They don't have advisory boards and they have the authority to purchase or do what needs to be done. And this position is no different. So if that's the case, then we need an advisory board for every department head that we have. And I don't think that that's necessary. That's over-governing. I don't know that we need an advisory board to tell Ryan what kind of cars to buy, or Sam when he was the sheriff, or Chris what kind of ambulances. That's their job. That's what we hire them for, and that's their position. That's all I'm saying with that.
I just think 911 is a little bit of a different animal because what they do affects a lot of different departments. So I feel like it's kind of comparing apples to oranges, so,
Okay.
but that's my opinion.
Anyone else?
Why don't you just put a limit on it, like the health board? Like, you know, make everybody happy. Just
And that's a possibility. But again, you know, if we're gonna look at that thing real hard, then maybe we need an advisory board for these other emergency service departments as well. Chris, did you have something?
Yeah, July 11th, I was supposed to go up and pick up the new ambulance, so.
I'll applaud that.
Finally, I'm trying to get the power load and radio mounted in it, so, long time coming. So,
We're keeping the ones that we have still rolling. I know you had a turbo problem. Have we solved that one?
yeah, I got it back yesterday,
Good.
just here. This is Wednesday, I got it back Monday. So, yeah, it's back. I need to send another one for some repairs, but I'm trying to hold off until we get this new one here. I have been on them to try to get an invoice so I can get a check cut before the day that I have to go pick it up, and I still haven't got an invoice from them. They won't allow me to pick it up until there's a check in hand. So when they finally get an invoice, I'll turn it in. We'll probably be asking for an out of cycle.
And that's fine, and those, we've done it before when we've picked up vehicles, so.
I've also requested a VIN so that I can tell our insurance company as of the 11th, here's the VIN, and we need that truck insured so that I can drive it.
Excellent.
All right.
Appreciate it. Where are you picking that up at?
Elkhart.
Okay.
I'm assuming you have transportation up there, got that arranged, and Jack's taking you, or somebody's taking you.
Not yet, I haven't.
I may have just volunteered you there, Jack.
You laughed.
Yeah, you can take fleet card. Anyone else?
Are you planning on us having fleet cards also, or using the tanks?
Well, we're gonna have cards available for you in case you're in Bloomington and need to, you know, take a run and go shoot up 231 or whatever on your way back. Those tanks are gonna stay there because we've talked about that for emergencies and those type of things and storms or whatever. But probably a good idea.
So you need I was just assuming we would be using the tank, so you need a number of cards I need also.
Yeah.
then.
I think if we're gonna do it, we'll go ahead and provide them for you. Whether you use them or not, they're available to you. I don't know how many runs you make a day, and you don't either till the end of the day, and you're in Bloomington at the hospital and say, oh, we need fuel, you can stop and get fuel.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of times when you're coming back from Monroe County, you're getting a call to go somewhere else, so you never even get back to the station.
Yeah.
So,
And in the same regards, that card can be assigned to
To the
the
unit.
ambulance, to
Yeah.
the unit. That way, regardless of who's driving it, Chris, that'd be,
Yeah, yeah, we've done that before. We used to have Super Fleet, which was Speedway's card. We used to have Super Fleet, but the problem was we used them so rarely that they would, if you don't use them in 6 months, they go inactive, so.
yeah, I think as a group, we'll be okay with that, with the sheriff department using it on a regular basis. And if you don't think it's gonna be beneficial to you, we won't worry about it, but I just think it wouldn't hurt to have them in your vehicles. Don't you, gentlemen?
oh, absolutely.
Okay. Anyone else? Jack?
Yeah, I didn't know if the ongoing ADA project needed any clearance or approval or anything, if that's all ready to go, or I wasn't sure what we were on that.
I told, in an email, Dana and Jim Doring, as well as David, that the commissioners would pay through CUME-CAP. It was $2,600 for the hearing impaired system in the court. It wasn't a big amount necessarily brought here to the board. ADA compliant has to be done, so it's been approved. We'll pay for that. And it's been
from my understanding, it's been taken care of. There was an antenna that wasn't quite right. That antenna has been changed, and it's up and working from everything I've understood. Speaking of ADA, since you oversee that, that'll be an addition to the commissioner's budget this year. There'll be a dollar amount in an ADA line as we have to continue to move forward and upgrade the buildings, the systems, the things that we deal with by state law, and to continue to get state and federal money from the state of Indiana. So I'm going to put some money in the fund line for those type of
Are you going
things.
to call it out for ADA?
ADA.
So
That's
we're
what
not
it-
going to cume cap.
Exactly, it'll be ADA separate.
That's a good plus, Jack. That'll give us some room to work there.
Yeah, I don't want to tie it into cume cap. We've got so many building issues that we can't be taking money from that. Matter of fact, we dropped it down quite a bit, but I think this year, and I'll speak to you guys as I'm working on this stuff over the weekend, first of the week, to get that back up to a decent amount.
We've been hard on it this year.
Yeah. Well, and we was able to roll over through encumbrance quite a bit, but we still have window issues here at the courthouse, the highway garage. We had to tear a building down out there this year. It needs to be up and replaced. I mean, I could go on and on. So, anyway, we'll make a special fund line for ADA. Anyone else?
When you say that publicly?
I have no public comment on this first meeting of the month. If I open that door, I've opened a big door. The next meeting, you're more than welcome to. We have public comment on the second meeting of the month. All right. Nothing else. Commissioners,
I have nothing.
Nothing.
I do want to bring
Well,
up the
yeah.
generator. Go ahead, Bob. Go ahead.
Yeah, like you said, the generator, but I also doubled it with the county employees. They have working so hard and everything, and all the citizens that helped everybody and stuff. And I think Owen County is got great citizens, and I'm thankful for them, because it hammered out my way.
Yeah, we had a lot of people helping with cleanup.
Yes.
I will say that the generator, for those of you who don't know, for the courthouse is up and functioning. And Tuesday afternoon, it was working. I believe Sheila was here for a long time. Proved to be a valuable asset. Again,
no air conditioning.
it's for emergency purposes only. It's not gonna run heating and air. But I bet Sheila was able to do whatever it is she wanted to do within this courthouse. We received kudos from one of the judges.
Yep.
That they were able to continue their work. So we did have, again, failures. Those failures led to some things that should have been better looked at. No fingers pointing by no stretch of imagination. We've changed that policy. They're going to be better taken care of and better watched over. And so I think all in all, we fared pretty well, I believe.
And Dana, Joel and I spoke about the generator at the Rocky Hill for the highway department. That is an emergency that we get that back up and running ASAP. I'd like to request that as an emergency purchase, somewhere in the ballpark of $5,000-6,000. Is that correct?
If we want like for like, it'd be, low sales will vend it, LLC, and if we want like for like, that's the way we should go. And the reality of it is, we just need the base unit. It's gonna be basic costs, taking one out, we don't change anything other than the raw unit itself. And we thought that that would fall under emergency purposes. If somebody's got a heartache with that, willing to discuss it, but we've got to get that unit up and running.
Yes, I would agree that is an emergency purchase that needs to be made to get that.
I believe Sheriff Hobbs at the time, Sam bought that unit and paid for it up there. And since its responsibility its ownership, if you will, has changed hands, Jack is going to keep an eye on it and watch over it. But I think it's appropriate to get it back. Well, we need it. We don't have it right now.
And I think we can pay for that out of cume cap. That's a county unit. And just wanted to make sure we're doing it properly. Go ahead and take a vote to make an emergency purchase. We could have a storm tomorrow and the highway would be without communications again.
And
we can't
I
have
will
that.
openly say that that if anybody has any heartburn with this, they're welcome to call me. But I believe that this falls under the emergency purpose, and I'd rather see the county have like for like. That makes all their units the same brand, same make, a lot of same components. That's pretty important to know.
I think, again, it does fall under an emergency, and if the purchases from your company, that needs to be made in the motion too,
Okay.
that you're approving that as a board of commissioners.
Okay.
And I'll abstain from any motions or votes.
So I'm gonna make a motion that we approve an emergency purchase of a generator for the Rocky Hill site for highway communications, and to be purchased through Lowell Sales in correspondence with all of our other units in the county. That's my motion. Do I hear a
Do you have
second?
this in stock?
Pardon?
Do you have this in
I
stock?
emergency ordered it. It got lost.
It got lost?
It got lost. It's on its way.
I second that motion.
All right. Got a motion by myself, seconded by Bob. All in favor? Aye. And again, I don't have to tell you, faster the better.
As soon as it hits the ground, it's going to work.
Okay, let's see. I do have, Sheila's got here for us a memorandum from the state talking about a covered bridge certification. Owen County does not have any covered bridges that we're responsible for.
I see that.
So it requires all three of our signatures stating the fact. So I'm going to ask a motion to approve the signature by us for the covered bridge certification request. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Got a motion by Joel, seconded by Bob. All in favor? Aye.
I thought we had a covered bridge at Cataract.
It's not, a road doesn't go across it, it's closed.
Ah.
It's just a walk bridge.
There you go, gentlemen. I don't think I have anything else. Oh, I want to touch on this real quick. The attorney has put together a county policy for us to go over. We're going to send it out to the departments for the new parent leave agreement, 6 weeks pay for spouse, family member, husband, wife type thing as employees. So we've spoke about this some time back, and he's got something put together here for us to take a look at, and hopefully by the next meeting, we'll be able to approve that. So it's something well overdue for the county. I think that we've lost employees in the past because we did not have a paid maternity leave. And matter of fact, believe it or not, I seen it on the news this morning coming in that the state or federal government, I think it's federal, is talking about giving grandparents paid leave. As crazy as that sounds, it was on the news this morning. So I think we'll leave it to mom and dad here at our level. That being said, motion to adjourn.
Second.
Oh, sorry, Sheila, I skipped right over you. I'm sorry.
I have a lot to say today, I'm sorry. It's getting tougher to be a mediator, whether it's between the commissioners and the council or vice versa, and things that are out there. My job as the auditor is the financial ends of things and to make sure things are flowing smoothly. Our cash balances are very important, and for the last 2 or 3 meetings, I've said we've got to watch them, the highway's been doing good. I cannot have claims submitted late. We cannot keep doing that. We've discussed it. I think everybody understands at this point that they have to be turned in, but I can't have 3 and 4 month old claims that are being submitted. I will be the one getting written up, not the department and not the commissioners. I have to pay them. I don't have a choice. I check the State Board of Accounts, but it will be, it's already noted that it'll be written up for. So please just make sure the departments are getting things turned in on time, or if we're doing them, don't create an invoice until they're gonna be paid, at least within that 30 days. We also are having issues with the cycles and claims being turned in, so we redid a schedule to try and help out. We're gonna work with a couple different departments, trying to, it gets confusing when there's an extra week in the month. We can't, unfortunately, there'll be 2 sets of claims 2 or 3 times out the year. It makes it difficult for them to understand. Yes, we do make mistakes and pay things from the wrong line items or the wrong funds. We can get those things corrected. But again, I have to make sure that we're getting things paid in a timely manner. That's a part of my job, and I don't want to get in trouble because it's not being done totally.
We don't want you to get in
Correct,
trouble.
okay.
And we don't know that until it shows its ugly head.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't know that there's late invoices coming in from a department. I don't know that, these guys don't know that until they get there. So I guess when that happens, we need to be notified so we can go back to that department. And you know that I personally have dealt with some of this stuff. I don't like it either. And I don't want to hear somebody telling me that a vendor's complaining we're not paying their bills when they've not turned them in.
Yeah.
That doesn't float with me.
And it was addressed this week. And
Yeah.
again, I'm not fussing at any department, just please do things the right way, and just like that. When my office gets accused of not processing or somebody's not getting paid, and then we find out it's because there's a 3 or 4 month old claim, I'm not a happy camper. And I think we've gotten the point across to, and again, we'll work with whoever, we'll try to get the claims processed, we'll do stuff out of cycle within reason. I just asked at the last meeting, you know, we have to slow down a little bit. There is a state list and statute on what claims are normally out of cycle as well. I get it, there's emergency situations or, you know, we'll do it. But there's also a process in our office that we don't always meet what somebody wants in the department, and we get grumbled about because they can't get a check with the second they walk in. We can't help that. If it's done and processed before noon, they can have a check that day. That doesn't mean walk in at 11:45 and say, here it is. Or if it's in the afternoon, the check cannot be until the next day. That is a banking issue. That's the process of our paperwork getting done and working with the treasurer's office and the money getting moved from one bank to the account to pay it out. So we have a process. I'm just asking, please, to all the departments and again, I think we've got this issue fixed. I hope. If not, again, I will be grumbling again.
But Sheila and I have talked about out-of-cycle claims being out of control, and they are out of control. In a lot of different departments, and the highway seems to be number one. And I've addressed that. And again, I agree with Sheila. If these things aren't emergencies, don't turn them in as out of cycle. Now, I understand we've had storm damage and we've had asked some extra people to come out, but just because somebody wants paid before the cycle goes through, too bad. You either need to work with our county government in our pay process, or maybe we need to find a different vendor. And I know I'm talking to air here, but anybody that's out there listening, it's important.
Emergency situations are different than just general. One of the invoices that we just absolutely had to get paid was actually dated in April. So I can't help it that something late and was not turned in for 2 months to ask for it to be paid, and then all of a sudden it's an emergency because we need them to do other work. It's one that it should, I mean, it was only a couple $1,000s. It was not that big of a deal to go ahead and pay it. If that couple $1,000 or the $63,000 that we had that was being held is going to make a difference in our budgets, then the highway's in trouble to begin with. The county's in trouble to begin with. So just don't hold it up that, you know, or if we have to.
I don't understand that.
Waiting, you know, for council and the appropriations process, then that's one reason to be holding stuff. But just like you guys just approved an emergency order to do something, you have to do it. Find a way to pay it from another line item until you can get that additional appropriation or a different fund. There's always the opportunity to come to commissioners and say, hey, we have an emergency here. A meeting can be called within 48 hours. and it can be addressed. Same thing with the council, if they need to call a meeting to pay something. And again, I'm not knocking, I truly appreciate the highway, they have had a hard week. Yesterday afternoon was a very tough day for them, but we've got to make sure, because again, we didn't do anything wrong, but we're gonna be written up, and the commissioners probably will be at some point too, because it is your department. Just don't hold claims, that's all I'm
I
asking.
believe, if I'm not mistaken, it only takes 2 commissioners and a phone call to get this taken care of.
Approve a claim, yeah, absolutely. And
But if we're not called, if Gary doesn't call me and say, hey, Joel, again, if he's unaware that it's out there, he
It's
can't call me or Bob and say, hey, I need your,
It's the
see.
department head's responsibility to let us know that that needs to be done.
Well, and the other part is, these bills are late. If you're incurring interest or late fees or anything like that, those cannot be paid by the county. And the individual department head that is holding them can personally be held responsible to pay those amounts of monies. I have looked at them, there's not any late fees, thankfully, we're covered on this batch, but we're not gonna hold claims from here on out.
And yes, if it's not an emergency, don't ask. Sorry, I didn't mean to skip you, Sheila, but no, that was very important. We've dealt with that this week, and it needs to be taken care of. Anything else? I'll make that motion to adjourn.
Second.
Seconded by Bob, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.